Everyone, I'm Alyssa.
And I'm Brandon. And we're
the
Wagners.
We're a husband-wife duo who travel all around the country since 2021 for Brandon's travel nursing job.
We love hiking, car camping, new cities, and of course, the best food and drink. Along with adventure, we always look for ways to keep our travel budget-friendly.
So pack your bags and join us as we wander together. Hey Wanderers! Welcome back to our page and welcome back to San Diego. So if you were with us before, we already went to the San Diego Zoo, and so now we are headed to the safari park. So I actually didn't know before I went, so maybe you also didn't know this. The San Diego Zoo actually has two separate entities. There's the zoo itself and then there's a safari park. They're owned by the same people, but they're totally separate plots of land and their own price of admission for each one. So if you are considering going to that area, you might be wondering which one you should do, what the difference is it really worth it? So I don't want to make this video too confusing, so I already have a separate video of the San Diego Zoo, so you can watch that one for some more footage and details of that one, and then this one I'm only going to be showing footage of the safari park. So for anyone who wants the quick answer, I personally prefer the zoo. I don't really think you need to do both. I would just do the zoo. But for people who are not sure or want to know why I think that, stay tuned and let's get right into it. So the safari park, as I mentioned, is its own entire property separate from the zoo, and it has its own admission. So the safari park is 1,800 acres, so it's significantly larger than the San Diego Zoo at 100 acres. But of course that's mainly because with the safari style, they need huge areas for the animals to roam and the trams to ride through. So of course there are different price points depending what you do, but both the zoo and the safari park are about $70 per adult and $60 for kids, meaning like $70 for just one. So if you want to get a package to get admission to both the safari park and the zoo, it's about $120 for adults and $110 for kids. So since these are pretty pricey, it's probably more realistic for most people to just pick one. So I'll tell you about my personal experience at the safari park compared to the zoo. So I wasn't sure exactly what to expect coming to the safari park. I probably just pictured, if anything, it was just nothing but a safari. But there actually is a zoo portion to the safari park. So there are different types of safaris that you can do, but the only one that's included with the pricier ticket is the Tram Safari, which is fine and it's enjoyable. But all in all, it's only about 25 minutes and you stay on the paved roads, so you're kind of far from the animals. So if you want to add other safaris, they're all priced separately, and if you ask me, they're entirely too expensive. So aside from a walking tour for $30, the separate safaris range anywhere from about $60 to $700, which most common they're about $90. And yes, those prices are per person. So if you don't want to add any extra safaris, the only feature that the safari park has over the zoo is this 25-minute tram ride, in which you're not any closer to the animals than you would be at the regular zoo. So since most of your day is spent at the zoo area at the safari park, let me tell you a little more about that. So I know that I prefaced with how much bigger this is than the safari, how much bigger the safari park is than the zoo, but this is certainly a case where bigger is not necessarily better. So again, most of that acreage is from the safari section rather than the zoo, and animal-wise, the zoo has way more for you to see. So the San Diego Zoo has over 14,000 animals and is representative of over 700 different types of species, and the little zoo at the safari park has over 3,000 animals representing over 300 different species, which isn't terrible, but it's definitely on par with other more affordable zoos. So similarly, the San Diego Zoo and the entire area of San Diego, there's lots of cool plants, and this kind of makes it feel like you're in a botanical garden as well, which is obviously nice, but sometimes it feels like you're more in a botanical garden than a zoo, because some of the animal exhibits can be kind of spaced out. And again, the zoo also has these cool plants and it has more animals for you to see. So I was happy to see that the safari park did have some big animals like elephants and lions and other African animals, but it felt like the main thing here to see was the birds, which I mean is fine, but I'm not a huge bird person, and if I'm paying $70 for a zoo, I want to feel like I'm seeing more new stuff that I can't see every day. So one thing that I enjoyed at the safari park was the stage area where the zookeepers got out animals and told you more about them and what makes them unique. As I'm sure you'll catch on to this trend if you haven't already, the zoo also has these stages and presentations. So also like the zoo, the safari park has cool setups and walkways and bridges and towers and whatnot. And of course, they both have cafes and gift shops and all the normal things you would find at the zoo. So one thing the zoo has that the safari park lacks, however, is the Skyfari, which is like a little ride that takes you from one side of the zoo to the other in the sky, and you can look down and see the animals in the zoo below you. So I guess I could keep rambling, but I'm sure you've already caught on that the point is it all comes down to, aside from that 25-minute tram ride, everything you can find at the safari park you can find bigger and better and more well done at the zoo. So honestly, it feels kind of cheap to me, the fact that, first of all, the safari park even exists, but the fact that pretty much everything that differentiates it is a massive upcharge. So I kind of feel like the safari park should either have way cheaper admission or just not charge pretty much another ticket's worth to do pretty much anything here. So maybe I'm just too cheap, but I'm really struggling to see what makes the safari park worth $70, let alone any upcharges for other safaris. And honestly, at the end of the day, since I didn't pay for any additional safaris, I just kind of felt a little gypped. So the zoo, on the other hand, is still expensive, but I feel like I got my money's worth. And of course, this is all me talking strictly as a consumer. Obviously, I understand that the safety and the protection of the animals is always the top priority. But just like the zoo, the safari park has its own AZA accreditation, so it is the highest standard of safety and protection that is met there. So that's great, but strictly as a consumer, the safari park felt a little redundant, and the volume of add-ons was just a little frustrating to me. So if you are planning a trip to the San Diego Zoo, please be sure to watch our video where I break down all the different ways you can get discounts, because like I said, these are kind of pricier. But if you're planning a trip and you weren't sure if you wanted to do both or if you should only do one, and if so, which one, my recommendation would definitely just be to skip the safari park altogether and just do the zoo. The zoo easily kept our attention for like over 6 hours, and honestly, we started to worry that we didn't even have enough time. The safari park definitely couldn't keep us there the whole day. So I want to hear from you guys. What was your experience at either the zoo or the safari park? Do you agree with me that the zoo is a better way to spend your money, or am I just being a little too critical of the safari park? If anyone has done one of those safaris for the upcharge, I would love to hear your thoughts about it, if you enjoyed it and if you thought it was worth the money and the upcharge. So leave us a comment below with your feedback and any other questions you still have about the zoo or the safari park. So thanks so much for coming along with us. And if you guys can believe it, this is actually our last SoCal video for the foreseeable future. So please make sure you tune in next week at the start of what I will call season 3 in a new location, and I will tell you what it is then. So I'm really excited for season 3. In addition to a new home base, we have a lot of international videos that I'm getting ready for you, and I'm hoping to make some more travel tip videos in addition to destination videos. So please leave us a comment below if there's a travel question that you have or something you wanted clarity about our lifestyle being on the road. Thanks so much for all the support. We love to travel with you guys. Please remember to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next week at our new home base. Bye!